Oh, that's why I wasn't wearing my glasses. Because you can't see my fucking eyes.
Oh, maybe. Hello, folks. We're back with something else. Got the laptop here. We are going to be reviewing Midgard Heroes and probably also Southlands Heroes. These are two expansions for races and backgrounds from the folks at Kobold Press. These are available on Drive-Thru-RPG and also available on the Dungeon Masters Guild. Both will run you $4.99 for the PDF itself. Several other races. These are designed for the Kobold Press kind of specific homeworld campaign area. So the Midgard Heroes is similar to what you would imagine. It's more of a Norse-ish. There's mention of Bifrost and things like that. There's a couple of caveats here. There are no Dragonborns or half-orcs in Midgard. Feel free to just ignore that entirely and just use it as expanded racial options if you see fit. Or if you want to, play in this, they have three other kind of in their home world, home-created universe adventures that get you usually from like 1 to 5. There's like a level 1, a level 2, and I think a level 3 to 5 possibly. But they have dragonkin and trollkin to fill those roles. Again, you can feel free to use these in your game as they stand fit, or if you would like to have a different universe entirely, by all means. So, we're going to kind of go over I feel like we'll probably do something high level, because we also don't want to give you no reason to go buy this book.
Truth.
So, we will give you, let's start with the first race. So, I guess it's pronounced Alseed.
Alseed. It's probably not that. Don't say what I just said.
Don't ever say anything that he says.
Nope.
This is basically a centaur, but instead of the lower half body of a horse, it's a deer.
And they have antlers.
And they have antlers.
Also in this image, little side boob.
There is.
It's a lady. It's lady side boob.
Yeah. Most of their races do have the functionality of most races in the player's handbook, where you have a +2 to 2 stats, +1 to 1 stat.
What? No, a +2 to 1 stat.
I'm sorry. Yes,
+1 to 1 stat.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Thinking half elf. Obviously, being a 4-legged creature, increased speed, dark vision, a lot of the kind of druidy features of like not leaving any tracks and moving automatically over, uneven earthy terrain, having proficiency in stealth, which I thought was kind of interesting as a hoofed creature.
Yeah.
And they have this thing, which will come in next when we go over, called Quadruped Ed, which basically you have problems because you're a 4-legged creature, like climbing a ladder.
Or getting down a manhole.
Very difficult for a large-bodied, horse-ish quadruped creature. And similar like weapon training of an elf. Next up is a centaur. Very similar, obviously different stats. They also again have that quadruped feature.
They're cool. They're large size, so I guess you could ride on them if they were cool with it. The Azalade, that's not it. Alseid?
Sure.
Alseid is medium size, so you could ride on it if you were a gnome or a halfling. But yeah, you'd be that, and then your party doesn't need a horse.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little almost not racist, but disrespectful. At least it wasn't Harry Potter.
That's true.
Hey, you dog.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, you can wear armor for your humanoid torso, and they actually get a cool thing which I will read, which is it's called Pike Charge.
Yeah.
It's like a leveling attack that you get if you are a horse, so lower half. So when you charge, you can get bonus damage while wielding a pike or a polearm. So if you move at least 30 feet and attack somebody with a pike, you do an additional d6 piercing damage, and then the dice that you do increases. It goes to 2d6 at 6, 3d6 at 11, and you can do this only once per turn, and you can only use this Constitution modifier times per day until you finish a long rest. But I think it's kind of neat.
It's solid. It's a solid little utility thing, and I also feel like pikes and polearms and stuff, unless you're going with that specific build, almost never get used. So this kind of grants them some additional utility that they wouldn't usually get.
Almost like a sneak attack, sort of.
Yeah.
But with pikes.
Yeah.
And you have the reach, so that benefits you as well.
True.
Next up is the dragonkin. This is again kind of your dragonborn version of this universe. Better than dragonborn.
Yeah.
No breath weapon. You do get pretty much the same languages. You get dark vision, which is a thing that dragonborn don't get. And rather than a +1 to charisma, you get a +2 to charisma, but you're different. You get like your other +1 stat depending on the type of dragon.
Kind of like Genasi or Ganassi or however people say
it. Correct. And they're not necessarily, again, this is Midgard, remember, when they have this design, so it's not like blue, red.
Yeah.
It's fire or flame dragon, stone or cave dragon, wave or tide dragon, wind or storm dragon, and a jet or soldier dragon.
As a guy who used to watch Supernatural, an idiot dragon is funny to me.
Yes, I'm going to go with Edjet rather than that. You basically will get a +1 to a given stat. You will get resistance to a type of damage, similar to a Dragonborn, and you'll basically get a cantrip. Some of them are better than others based on the cantrips that you end up choosing. Some of them are kind of crappy, some of them are offensive, so good stuff on that.
Yeah.
I think it's better than a Dragonborn, and the picture looks way cooler.
Super cool. It's a dude with a fire, or a dragonkin with a fireball wreathed in flame.
He looks more dragony.
Yeah,
than Dragonborn.
in the face.
Yeah. Next up, they just have a little thing on elves in their universe. They pretty much just use the elven stats. It's like the river elves in their universe use high elf stats and things like that. They have a gearforged, which is basically your warforged, which is way better and more thematic than the Unearthed Arcana, Eberron sort of not so good warforged.
Yeah.
First of all, you get a +1 to 2 scores, which is better than the warforged, which I think only gets like a +2 to 1.
I think it's a +1 to 2, but
they're chosen.
Yeah, it's like a +1 to strength and a 1 to con or something.
It makes more sense in this one. You basically, as pretty similar to the warforged, as it stands, you have most of the same things. I personally like that you can't be healed with Spare the Dying, but Mending will stabilize you when you hit 0.
That's cool idea.
You regain half of the usual hit points from a heal spell. You are made of metal. And because you don't eat or drink, you don't get any benefit from drinking a potion, which makes entire sense. If your body is not, you don't have organs, you can't process food. How could you drink a potion and gain health back? Makes no sense.
Would an ointment work? Or an oil?
An oil I would definitely agree with, because you're a robot. So like rubbing in oil.
Oil of etherealness wouldn't...
Yeah, that I would agree with.
Okay.
Oils and things that are kind of, tactile and rubbed into the skin there, that I would agree with.
Okay.
And then because of that, immune to disease, poison, and a poison condition makes sense, which is better than the Warforged and Eberron thing for Unearthed Arcana, which was just immunity to disease, which is fairly rare.
Yeah.
Immunity to poison is huge, because that's a whole damage type.
Yeah.
And they have the similar thing where basically you don't die, you just kind of go inert, and then like if people recharge your soul gem. There's a whole thing about how you can make a soul gem, soul forging. It's a 5th level necromancy spell. It's a whole thing. I won't go into it, but
it's cool.
I think it's better than the Warforged. I think it makes more sense thematically. I like it. They have a ghoul, a Darakul ghoul, which is an interesting concept. The background information for it is pretty interesting. But basically, you are an undead, therefore getting a bonus to Constitution. And you have some interesting things that go along with it. The type of ghoul that you are, like what you were created from, drives most of your secondary bonuses. Your second stat boost, a language, your walking speed, and your size. And all of them are based off of things from this book. So like you could be a dark ghoul made from a dragonkin and have Draconic as the language, or you could be a centaur, I think, and get, not a centaur, just humanoid type things, not like a tiefling, a kobold, things like that. let's see, you do have a bite attack, dark vision. You get sunlight sensitivity, which is pretty much the main reason why you would never take this. I think it's interesting because you are resistant to necrotic and poison. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Undead. You can't be exhausted. You can't be poisoned. But you also can't be brought back to life by Revivify, Raise Dead, Reincarnate, Resurrection. But you can be brought back by any necromancy spell.
Like Animate Dead?
Animate Dead will bring you back to life. But you need to consume raw meat to stay functioning. You have to go, you eat a meal of raw meat each day or suffer starvation, which is basically exhaustion that you can't lose through normal means.
So you can't sleep away.
If you go 24 hours without such a meal, you gain 1 level of exhaustion. To get rid of this, you can't regain hit points or remove levels of exhaustion until you spend an hour consuming an amount of raw meat equal to a small creature, which is around 30 pounds of raw meat.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Create undead spell to cast it that targets only your corpse. Affects you as if raised dead. Don't need to eat, drink, sleep, blah, 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 blah. Cobalt, they have a Midgard Kobold, which is nice because it's the Kobold race, the first Kobold race. Yeah. 2 stat, you don't get a lot, I mean, you're a Kobold. Dex and intelligence and dark vision. You don't, in this version doesn't have, or it has blindsider, which is basically pack tactics, but you can only apply this to 1 attack per round.
Makes sense.
Sunlight sensitivity.
Makes sense.
And then they give them proficiency with like a tool. Artisans, masons, smiths, tinkers.
Yeah. I was calling you a tool.
I got it.
Yeah.
You don't know how many takes we had to do for some of those Rise of Team videos.
What are you talking about? Someone kept interrupting me.
They have their version of a Minotaur. You get natural attacks. A D6 piercing I feel is probably more realistic than D10, like the waterborne one.
Yeah.
You get Labyrinth Sense, which is basically the same. If you've been on a route, you remember it. And they get a charge attack, which is similar to the pike thing. If you move at least 10 feet and hit with your horns, you do an extra D6 and shove people 5 feet as a bonus action. You can apply this damage once per turn at 11th level. When you shove a creature, you can push it 10 feet instead of 5. You can use that Constitution modifier times per day. Dark vision. Other than that, pretty similar.
Solid.
They have ravenfolk, which I really like because I was always a big fan of the Kenku, but these are more, they're not, if I recall, these are not small creatures. These are slightly shorter than humans, but they're still medium. So they're more humanoid size, but they are feathered. They do have a beak. Same, 2 to 1 stat, 1 to another. Similar thing. They have similar things to a Kenku in that they actually have advantage on attack rolls against a surprise creature, which is nice.
Nice.
And they have the kind of mimicry thing that a lot of things seem to have access to gain something similar to that. Mastermind Rogues, Actor Feat, something similar like that, and then proficiency in deception and stealth. So they make an excellent rogue.
Nice.
There's the Shadow Fey, which is not as good, to be honest. You only get a +1 to your charisma.
Oh, moving on.
Proficiency, similar stuff to Elf in that you have weapon training, but you do have sunlight sensitivity. Advantage in Arcana checks. But your big thing is if you're in dark, dim, light, or shadow, you can Misty Step. Ability, charisma modifier times per day.
That's pretty solid.
And you get it back on a long rest.
That's solid.
But I don't think it warrants all of the other negatives.
No, you're right.
Trollkin is probably my favorite of these races. They're much better than a half-orc in my mind.
Trollkins are solid.
Base stuff, dark vision. You get a claw and a bite attack that do a d4, not great.
Are they a bonus attack or like a regular attack?
You make unarmed melee attack, so it's an action. Proficiency in intimidation, which is similar again to an orc. And you have this inhuman vigor thing, which is once a day as a bonus action. You can expend a hit die to regain hit points as if you've done a short rest. It's only 1, but it increases as you level. At 6, it goes to 2 hit dice. 11, it goes to 3 hit dice, and 18, it goes to 4 hit dice. But because you're a troll, if you suffer fire or acid damage, you lose ability to do this until you finish a short or long rest.
I like it. It's cool.
And you have +2 con as your base.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 subtypes. There's a Night Whisper troll, which gives you, before making a check, ability check or saving throw, you can heed the Wisdom of Spirits to gain advantage on the roll. So only abilities or saving throws, not attacks. You can't use this feature again until you do a long rest. Or you could become a Stonehide Trollkin, which gives you strength as opposed to wisdom, and your AC, you just get a +1 to your AC, because your skin is all gnarly.
Solid.
And
+2 to con, +1 to AC.
And +1 to strength.
And +1 to strength.
They do have backgrounds, which we'll kind of quickly glance over. Most of these are similar to the ones in the player's handbook. Corsair is like your basically your pirate. They do all have. Do you need to blow your nose?
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah. All right.
Should I do that now?
Maybe.
Okay. Bye, internet.
Because you're right in my ear.
Not yet.
What's nice though is they do have a full set of traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws for each of them, rather than something like the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, which only has that for one, and tell you to use other previous existing ones. So there is your Corsair, which has the Scourge of the High Sea, which is no reduction in speed when climbing on ships. It's interesting. You've got your Darkling, which is you have the Touch of the Darkness, which most dark type creatures are more willing to talk to you rather than instead just outright fighting you. But it works both ways, so like you might not want to fight things either. Fey-Touched. When you're near a ley line, your hair stands on end. Again, these all do have personality traits. There's a guild merchant as opposed to a guild artisan, and they have different options for that. Savvy trader, master craftsman, and they have stuff for your craft. Masterwork. When using crafting downtime with your chosen craft, you generate double the normal progress towards the item's completion. That's nice if you do have a lot of downtime in your games. Nomad, which is very similar to your Outlander. Raider, which is kind of similar to a mercenary type. And that's it. That's it for the Midgard Heroes. Again, the backgrounds are very similar to the existing ones. However, they do give you, like I said, new ideals, bonds, flaws, etc. So that's it for the Midgard Heroes. We will catch you guys back here again with the Southland Heroes, which is again another one kind of similar in universe-wise, new races, new backgrounds, and the races in this one also have class-specific stuff.
I had a cookie.
I know.
Oh! Ow! Shit, that hurt. Do you want to talk about the language real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Just because a lot of these races don't have access to common, they have, what do they call it?
There's Northern Tongue, some of them say Southern Tongue, some of them say
Trade
speak.
All that stuff. So when I was first looking at it, I was like, hey, I don't want to be any of these because none of these know common. But those languages are like
specific to that universe.
Yeah, they're specifically that kind of thing. So if you wanted to play as one of these races, and if, as a DM, if you wanted your players to have access to these races, I would just substitute those for common.
Yeah, like most of them have the language specific, like Draconic for the dragonkin and Trade Tongue, or Northern language or Southern language. And I would just, as a DM, I would take Northern language, Southern language, and Trade Tongue and replace it with common. Again, these are specific to a universe that they created. The races are very well done, so I would use these and just substitute that. I mean, every race in pretty much all of Dungeons and Dragons has access to a common or something similar.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll get you back here with Southland Heroes in just a bit.
I also peed when I went to blow my nose.
Good for you.
I was proud.